40, and it could be we would win, and then they would surpass us. But now we're so far out. We're so far out.
Any pangs of divided loyalty if Maryland plays California in the second round?
Well, you know, I love both the teams. I root for the Terps. Of course, I root for California. But I revisit when I was rooting for the 49ers to win their division and this, and rooting for Baltimore, the Ravens, to win it, and then.
All right, guys, we're going to cut out of this Nancy Pelosi press conference and take you live now, where Harry Reid is speaking about his meeting with the new Supreme Court.
Koch brothers and others already spending money to drum up this support. The support that they're getting comes from this dark money, and it's just so awful. What did they do in Iowa? That circuit court judge, they started to, because they're afraid Grassley was, they were afraid she might get the nod from the president, so they went after this good woman who's on the circuit court there covering Iowa. Remember what Senator McConnell said right after Obama was elected. Their number one goal was to defeat Obama, the number one goal. And he said it publicly. That was admirable. And that's what they attempted to do, make sure Obama was not reelected. They failed miserably at that, and he's going to also fail miserably at this. They cannot succeed in the position they've taken. It's just totally against American people. So it doesn't matter how much money the Koch brothers spend. We're going to continue with our message that all we want them to do is their jobs.
Senator Reid, could you talk about what the strategy is for Democrats over the next 2 weeks while Republicans are back home? How specifically will you try to apply pressure to them, and how do you think that that's going to be successful?
A lot of the pressure is being applied by you folks. I think the stories have been commendable, recognizing what an important issue this is, and I'm going to try to go, when I go home, make sure that you have more to talk about. I'm going to do an event or 2 or 3 in Nevada. We already have the locations. We're going to do them. I think they'll be good events, and my caucus is doing that all around the country. We have one day I'm going to be traveling that day, and I'll have to do it from long distance, but where we're going to have a day of where we have a petition signed by lots of people, and we're going to join with that.
What building? Were you able to gauge from Judge Merrick any level of confidence from Judge Garland? I mean, any level of confidence that he's going to get a hearing, get a vote? What are his thoughts on how this process is moving forward?
You know, this is something that's new for him. You know, he was approved by a wide margin 18, 19 years ago. You know, this is all new to him. Politics is not something he's been involved in. But I am confident he's going to get approved. The Republicans cannot continue this. It won't work. And for them to come out as someone said, well, maybe we could do something in the lame duck. What is that about? What is that about? If they're going to do it, why don't they just go ahead and do it now? Have hearings and do it the way we've always done it. And for them, I talked to Joe Biden today. One of you asked me, well, what about the Biden rule? There is no Biden rule. That's something they made up. Joe Biden, during his entire tenure as chairman of the Judiciary Committee, he processed all Supreme Court nominations. And to his credit, even though the committee did not approve nominations, he would bring them to the floor anyway.
Senator, building on Ted's question, though, this nomination comes at a very critical time when you guys are going to be scattered throughout the nation. Are you worried about losing momentum as he's attacked and vetted by the press and all of this? You can't hold daily press conferences like you did today for the next 2 weeks.
I'm so grateful to the president for getting this out before the break. I think that's very, very important that he did that. And you're going to be surprised at how hard we're going to work to make sure this is still on the front pages of all the papers and the top news stories on the electronic media.
Are you saying you're opposed to a lame duck confirmation?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Were you saying you're opposed to a lame duck confirmation?
No, what I'm saying is, we have some of the Republican senators now saying, well, maybe the lame duck could do something. I'm saying, what is this about? I mean, if they're looking to the lame duck, do it now. Is it because they're afraid of their base that they do this? Then they will have to they do it now, they'll have to answer more to the Koch brothers and others like that. I'm just saying that is kind of a weak excuse not to do it now.
Well, Senator Reid, Senator Flake says that he's open to a lame duck confirmation if Hillary Clinton wins, because he says he doesn't want to change the balance of the court, that if you go from a Scalia pick to a more liberal pick, you change the balance of the court for a generation. Whereas if Hillary Clinton wins, she might nominate a more liberal justice, so he'd be happy to consider Garland in that.
Well, but as I've read his statements, he said he would consider doing a lame duck. Well, then do it. Do it now. Why wait?
Because he's hoping the Republicans win the presidency, and then they get to fill the vacancy with a conservative.
Well, I got that. I understand that. That's pretty clear. But to hold up a nomination so Donald Trump can give a nomination, that should scare everybody.
He's very much opposed to Donald Trump. I mean, he wants anybody but Trump to be the Republican nominee.
Well, I would bet that I mean, I would have to say, if we're doing a logic class, I only took one. I did okay in it, but it's not very logical. If you're going to do it in the lame duck, why not do it now? Everybody knows that who our nominee is going to be. Hillary's going to get the nomination. Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Leader. What did you tell Judge Garland in terms of advice on withstanding the scrutiny, the pressure, and the waiting he's going to be under?
I just told him to be himself, to be calm and collected, and I think that's his nature anyway. And he is a very smart man. He is, we talked about the many cases he's presented to courts and to juries. I just think he's going to do just fine. He's not going to get into philosophical discussions with me or anyone else. That isn't what he's to do. If somebody wants to lecture him on what should be done in the court, he'll listen, but he will make no comment as to what he would do.
Do you expect...
One more question.
Did you talk to him at all about why he was willing to put himself into the situation, why he was willing to risk that?
No, I didn't have to do that. He answered that when he was standing next to the president. If you're a lawyer, and a trial lawyer, as he is, I mean, this is the culmination of anybody's legal life, to be selected to go on the Supreme Court of the United States. And I think he will be confirmed, but if I were in his shoes, I'd be willing to take all the brickbats and piece of fruit thrown at him in different non-figurative ways. I just think that it's a great honor for him to have been selected, and I think he's willing. He's a tough man. He's willing to take whatever they have to throw at him. Thanks, everybody.